with the home and working on all kinds of house projects and stuff. But got myself spaced out about 5 different projects. But it's all good.
Dude, I was looking at your schedule beforehand here to see what your upcoming appearances were. And I was looking at your month of April, and holy shit, you were jam-packed. You were everywhere, man.
Yeah, I think that's a busy month for all the wrestlers, and yeah, they've been keeping me going at the conventions in between wrestling shows. There's conventions all the time of different sizes. They're not all big enough to handle RVD. The one I did on Sunday in Toronto, it was a pretty big show, but it was really weird how it was set up, and I wasn't at the table very long, and it was a mixture of everybody saying, wow, you did a great job. You made everybody feel like they were special. Stuff I normally hear, I'm good at it. I like doing that. And the mixture of that, and then a bunch of them like saying, do you want to hang out? Do you want to hang out and sign more pictures? Like I'm good, but if you want to do more, then you can. And I'm like, I mean, you said we're done, right? And then I was really confused, and someone else said it too. You could. Do you want to sign more? I mean, while you're here, because my flight got delayed or whatever. Uh-huh. And I was like, you mean like work more? Like you
work more, though I'm done?
like work more, pay more? I was so confused. I was confused, but anyway, I talked to him on the email, and he was saying, I was like, man, you had a ton of pictures for me to sign, and he said there was like 800 or so, and I was doing the math on that, and like on these convention stuff, they average $100 a person, because like they in the States, because they charge like 60 or 70 for a normal autograph, $20 more for a premium if it's a Funko Pop or a belt or a action figure, and then same for your camera. And so I was thinking, wow, average 100 times like 800, and that's like, wow, 80 grand. Like that's not. Yeah, they didn't have too high expectations, but anyway, but it was cool. They were nice and everything. What I was gonna say was it was set up different. And when I was telling them afterwards, like, usually, I'm at the table more, this and that. He said that they only have like a time limit. Like each guest can only be there for an hour or an hour and maybe an hour and 45 minutes out of the whole day or something. And it's something weird like that. And so it was confusing. I don't know. And the tickets that they sold them to were like half the price of what they get in the States, but then it varies though. Like WrestleCon weekend, people are paying the prices that I'm just talking about and waiting in line at WrestleCon. And then later on in the day, I'm at the casino and I'm signing autographs, and the dude comes up and he's like, "Hey man, yeah, I was gonna." He said, "I was gonna see you at WrestleCon, but I don't have enough money for one person, and so I went to see so-and-so because I knew you were here." And I was like, what do they charge you here? He said, it's free. I'm like,
that's crazy.
That's a better deal.
Yeah, that's a way better deal.
Yeah. And same thing at that dispensary, Indigo Dispensary in New Jersey was also free for the people that came out. So sometimes, it's a promotional expense for the sponsor, and sometimes they're trying to make their money back.
Right, exactly. How was the dispensary? Did they get a good turnout for that? And like,
yeah, they did. They sure did. It was it was a big line that didn't stop until the end of the hour. They had to cut the line off, and so that I could eventually leave. Like close to when I was supposed to, and pretty much all the signings seemed to go that way when we were in Philly. Philly's a good town.
Can't beat Philly. I miss it. I lived there, like I said, for 5 years before, and I missed a lot of aspects of that. I could definitely move back there, I think, at some
Yeah.
point and see what happens. But how did you like Toronto as a city and everything like that? They got a good comedy scene, I know. They're notorious for like stand-up comedy up there, and just kind of a
I love Toronto. I've always liked Toronto. I got some friends up there. Harry D, the referee, like usually always picks me up from the airport, make sure that I'm taken care of and everything. And Marco, long-time friends for a very long time. And this was a quick in and out. You know, I got in Saturday night, 11 o'clock, and was scheduled to be at the convention until 3 and then leave at a flight that left at like 5:19 or something. So pretty tight. But my flight was delayed. Eventually, it wasn't going to be able to get me home at all on Sunday night. And when I was at the airport, I had to fly like to Dallas anyway and spend the night there. So I ended up just buying my own ticket on some cheap airline that I never heard of, Flair Airlines. And I don't remember hearing about them. But anyway, middle seat. So I gave up first class seat to sit in the fucking middle. But it was a direct flight. It got me home Sunday night. And I just couldn't wait. It was like felt like I've been running this fucking marathon. And it was like I saw the finish line, you know, like I saw it weeks ago. I'm like, after Toronto, I'm going to take a break. And I had all these projects I'm working on have been like eating at my brain, stuff I want to get to that I've been like, okay, I'll wait till May because I've just been too divided. My focus has been dissipated. I've been feeling like, you know, throughout the whole month, tired and needing rest and trying to catch up. And that's not my normal vibe anymore. Although that in WWE back in the full-time days, it was very much that times 10.
Right. Jeez, I know. And they're always probably when you were in W, and you mentioned this before, like it always just seems never ending when you're there because it's just the ride never stops, basically.
Yeah, and I mean that's how it was, and I don't know if things are different or not. You know, COVID changed a lot of the schedules, like at least temporarily, and then plus the deals are different now. Concerns and you know a little bit of caring about the health and welfare of the talent is a little more important now. So I don't know really now what it's like, but it was definitely when I was there, it was like never stop. I mean, being off meant, you know, like 3 days maybe, and that's including travel there and back. And yeah, I was just, you know, always so tired. What was I gonna do once I was home? I couldn't imagine the families, like fathers that go home or us, you know, women too, but people that have children and stuff, and they get home and then snap right into parent mode, take their kids to school the next day. Like I just always felt like wow, I don't have that kind of energy. Right. You know, I need to recharge and regenerate and find my balance after you've disrupted me.
Right. I know. I remember seeing on Twitter on Road Dogg, he was saying like how he just literally only had like 20 hours to be at home, and then he'd have to fly on back. And it's just like finding that time to just kind of decompress and worry about like just your general life situation and what you got going on. It's like it's unbelievable. I know you get into a pattern of travel and stuff like that, but still, it's got to be a slog, man.
Yeah, some people like it more than others too. That has a lot to do with it. If you're forced to do something and you're hating it the whole time, forced is kind of a heavy word. You know what I mean? Like we're living our dream, pursuing our goals, and working a job. It just happens to be what the job requires. But if you like doing it or not makes all the difference in the world and your experience going through it. And man, some of the guys could remain fans and just be so excited and still several years in pinch themselves. Oh my God, I can't look at this. I'm in Paris with The Undertaker sitting behind Mark Henry. And I mean, I was from a generation where that wasn't even allowed. You know what I mean? And man, sometimes even if I would only have one night off, I'd be like, well, it's a 4-hour flight in an airplane, or it's go eat and have some drinks, and it'll be like 3 hours by the time I get to the hotel anyway. Sometimes I would just, to recharge and restart, one night of sleeping in my bed, one workout in my gym, one time sitting in my jacuzzi, one time in my tanner, and for me, just going through all that, and petting the dogs and everything. Even back then, that would be for me enough to at least feel like, okay, I touched base again. Otherwise, it would have felt like I'm playing baseball and I keep running around the diamond, and every time I run by home, I accidentally jump over it and say, "Fuck, I'll get it next time." Don't go anywhere. I'll be right back.
I'll be back.
Fuck, I missed it.
Damn it, son of a bitch.
Yeah, that's a good way to describe it, I think. So.
Well, you getting the start off too, and like you saying, like a lot of wrestlers like pitching themselves, like, "Oh my God, the Undertaker, Mark Henry."
Well, some I didn't say a lot.
Yeah, but like, I know that was kind of like taken out of you with working with the Sheik and all that kind of thing. But do you remember like kind of having an instance where like when you were first really starting off and you're wrestling like a decent name that were like, "Oh, I watched this guy on TV," and you kind of were like, "Wow, I can't believe I'm kind of doing this," or where is it kind of never for you at that juncture?
No, I mean, like, when I was working singles matches with like Greg the Hammer Valentine, and maybe like my first 2 or 3 years in the business, I knew that. I recognized like, wow, this guy is a huge star. I watched him, on my television every week, and saw him at WrestleMania 3. So, I mean, I knew that, and I was aware, and I thought it was really cool. My first live show, I thought it was cool that Ken Patera was there because, same thing. We watched him in WWE, and Abdullah the Butcher was there. So, it stuck out in my mind who was on TV or who I was familiar with. Famous wasn't something that anybody in Battle Creek was associated with. Nobody knew anybody famous, no actors, there was nothing. There wasn't like, kids that were a couple grades ahead that went off to Hollywood and became movie stars. It wasn't like that where I grew up. So that really stood out that, these guys were legitimate stars. I'd seen them on TV, probably bought their merchandise,
Yeah. What was I going to say? Like the only thing, Battle Creek cereal. It's like Tony the Tiger is the most famous.
They're great. That's it, yeah. But somebody did, my friend Ron Rocho in Battle Creek, did just send me something on Facebook about like the 3 most famous people from Battle Creek. And of course, there's me, and then there's a drummer from I don't know if it's Metallica. I'm fucking it up. He's in Gull Lake, I think, not actual Battle Creek, if I remember right. Not sure. And then some guy I'd never heard of. I don't know if he was like a philosopher or something.
Oh, really?
Solitude or something, and I don't know. But, I think maybe it's time to go ahead and erect the RVD statue.
There we go.
Yeah.
Man, that would be... How many people did you graduate high school with? How many people were in your class?
I don't know for sure. I'm going to guess, looking back, like 40 or 50.
That's it?
I think so.
Wow. I had 84, so I was like 40 or 50's really a lot less.
Yeah, I mean, that's my guess.
Yeah, that's a small class, so that's crazy. I thought you would have had like 400 or 200 or something. But that was just guessing because I always just assumed Battle Creek was a bigger area or a bigger city.
Well, I had several school districts. So I went to Penfield, and then during all the sports, we would play against all the other school districts. And there was Harper Creek, and there was Lakeview, Battle Creek Central. That used to be where all the black people went to school. That's how it was. It was like segregated like that when I grew up there. I don't know if it's still like that or not. And I heard it is, but someone told me that they went to Battle Creek Central and they were like a couple of the only white people there, and that's how it was at our school for the black people. We had like maybe 3 in each grade.
Yeah.
Yeah, if it was 3, we had more than 10 white people for every black person. So maybe it was higher than 50, but I don't know. Ask AI or Alexa or something.
Yeah,
I really
don't.
know. But and then there was St. Phil, which was like some kind of Catholic school. I guess that was probably private looking back at it. Springfield and I guess sometimes you could call Gull Lake and was it not Urban Valley. That was the Urbanville, some shit like that.
Huh.
Anyway, a lot of school districts right around within the Battle Creek city limits.
Okay. I forget. Did you play any organized sports in high school? Okay.
No. I joined wrestling in maybe my junior year, I think. Mm-hmm. And I don't know what year it was, in high school anyway. And then I didn't stick with it because I wanted to be a pro. And I weighed 165 pounds. And I remember I looked around and everybody was really small. All the really good wrestlers were skinny and wiry. And the coach was saying, I should be able to get down to 230, down to 135. And I was like, I want to weigh 235. I want to be a pro wrestler. Here I am at 165 trying to be a pro wrestler. And, that meant a lot. But back then, that was a lot harder of a barrier to cross. So anyway, I didn't stick with it because of my, conflict of goals. And besides that, I just kind of goofed off. It seems like I might have joined track and field, just doing flips on the pole vault mats for a couple of days and then quit or something.
Yeah. That's good. Yeah, it's like I never did high school wrestling. I did basketball, but that was it.
That's also why it's ironic that I would one day be considered one of the most athletically gifted wrestlers in the business, and a lot of fans appreciate me because of my athletic abilities, which when you think athlete, you would think that I was a jock, that I was into sports, and yeah, I never was.
No, yeah. You just got into the kickboxing and the martial arts stuff aspects of it all.
That and showing off on a diving board.
There you go.
Yeah.
Got a super chat, guys. We're live. We're live on YouTube, RVD's YouTube channel. We're live on RVDTV.com. We're also live on Rob Van Dam's Twitter, too. But if you guys want to get a question in, you can just use the super chat. So I definitely see it and able to pick it up. It also helps the podcast out. So hit subscribe, use that super chat. We got a super chat right here, Rob. Corey Donovan, thanks for the $5, man. He says, I know you like your one-off appearances in AEW, but do they ever do contracts for like a 3-month storyline? If so, would you be open to it? Would you be open to like more of an extended thing, maybe just a couple months or something with AEW?
I would like to think that I'm open to any conversation, So it's anything's worth considering. Let's hear what you got in mind, whatever. But no, I don't have any of those talks. Just what you see is what you get, and that's all anybody's talking about.
Yep.
All anyone's talking about doing. Let me put it that way.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. So, no, definitely cool appearances. I love seeing the one-offs that you do and stuff like that. And I know people do like seeing you in AEW and everything. So lots of talk.
One thing that fans don't take into consideration that I do, it's cool having time off, and I don't want to be full time or anything like that. But it is a big disadvantage being in the ring because no matter how much conditioning that I do, there's no wrestling conditioning like wrestling. So. If I was wrestling like every week, instead of sometimes every 6 weeks, maybe 8 weeks, whatever, then it would you would have a little bit even more fluid RVD. So for people that haven't thought about that are like, well, he might not quite be what he used to be, and whatever. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm not saying I'm not 53, but I am saying that that's something you probably don't even think about, is that it's a big advantage when you're in ring condition because you're in there doing it. And so that is one thing that I think about when I think about working like weekly or under contract with an actual job versus just taking the shots here and there. There's pros and cons, obviously, to both.
Right. It's depending on how limbered up you are and all that stuff. It's got to be tough too. If you're like, there is nothing that can simulate what you're doing in the ring like that. It's like you can run and do all the cardio you want and all that kind of stuff, but geez, hitting a ring like that, it's got to be a lot different.
And also, there's other things you got to do, that you fill in that time with if you're not just wrestling. You know what I mean? And for me, a lot of that's traveling and which the other guys are traveling too. But if they're traveling and in the ring conditioning themselves, and I'm traveling and beating myself up with the travel and not conditioning because I'm out doing signings and, missing sleep and like an idiot drinking my way through the weekends, which probably doesn't really help when it comes to needing a little extra recovery time when I get back. But that is something as well. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah. We got another super chat here. Christopher Dale, thank you for the $2. We've talked about this a little bit, but any memories of your fellow All Japan foreigners? So like I know you interact with a lot of those guys, from Stan Hansen to Gary Albright to Bobby Duncan Jr. Talk about that a little bit.
Those guys, wait, is that what they mean by foreigners, or do they mean? Right.
I think so, because he says fellow All Japan foreigners. So
okay, yeah. So Gaijin dis.
Yeah,
absolutely. I was so young when I started going to Japan. Like when I look back, I was such a baby, like right out of high school, shy and introvert, but I believed in myself, and with wrestling, with the martial arts, and I had no problem thinking I could get in the ring and then handling myself, but doing that with listening to the right advice. That's people that are trying to tell you do more of this, less of that, lighten up, stiffen up. You got to decide who you're going to listen to. And that's a challenge at that part of your career. But man, I just turned 22 when I started going to Japan. So just 2 months ago was when I turned 22, and Johnny Ace was the leader of the Office clique. And he was really tight, of course, with Baba, Mrs. Baba. And also in the Office clique would be Del Wilkes, the Patriot. He was cool, but, him and Johnny would often go grab dinner together, when we get off the bus or whatever. So that was just the same clique. Doug Furness could be in that clique. Stan Hansen, I would put in that, like those guys would gravitate towards each other more than the Hoods, which were the guys that were like, hey, do you know somebody in this town that hook us up? When we get off the bus. And that would be like Doc, Steve Williams, and like you mentioned, Gary Albright, myself, Danny Croffett, Johnny Smith would hang out with us, Jackie Fulton, or not Jackie Fulton, Steve Armstrong.
Oh, okay.
Why do I have Jackie Fulton and Steve Armstrong mixed up?
Huh.
Well, are they the same guy? Interesting. No, but Jackie Fulton would be over there though. And he would, hang out with whoever. He wasn't really a Hood. You might have a couple beers or whatever. And, some of the guys were crazy and some weren't. Kamala, the second. A lot of people, when they see him, the footage of me with that guy, they think, not the Kamala that I grew up watching. This guy's name is Ben Peacock. He's from Georgia. He tagged with Kamala in Japan. They called him Kamala the second. And then also they called him Kamara, which is Japanese for Kamala.
Yeah.
but he kept that Kamara name. And he was always there, almost every tour, and very entertaining guy. I talked to him recently after not talking to him in at least 10, maybe 15 years, and it was cool to see he's doing really well. Bobby Duncombe Jr., you mentioned, he was like one of my closest friends. Mike Lazansky, another close friend. Okay, let's see. I'm starting to run down on some of these Jim Steele. Yes, sir. Good guy. I brought Bobby Bradley over there for like one tour. And yeah, these guys were all good and a different level. Oh, the Blackhearts were there one time. Man, did they get heat? They got so much heat. So much heat.
What'd they do? Like they were just
everything. And it's really just one of them. David Heath was one. He's a nice dude. And then the other guy, Tom Nash, I believe is his name. He was the one that he just can't help it but be super annoying. At least back then, oh my God, like tried way too hard, to fit in. Always had to talk when it's quiet and say something, but always said the wrong thing, and David got heat just because he's his partner. But that dude, they told me this story, Tom Nash, which I'm sure he doesn't mind me telling. Matter of fact, it was on the Luna Vachon Dark Side of the Ring, but Tom told me this a long time ago that he used to be married to Luna Vachon, and he suspected that she was cheating on him with El Vampiro.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Vampiro, yeah.
And so he said one time he pretended that he was, and they were all roommates, like Vampiro staying with him and his wife. And so he said one time he left to go to work, but really he just went a few blocks down, waited a little bit, and then came back and snuck into the house. And when he did, it was I think it was a win-lose because he was right. He discovered that his suspicions were on point, but he walked in watching Vampiro dicking his wife, and then Vampiro beat his ass too.
What? Oh no!
Yeah, but anyway, I mean, it's a funny story, even though what a thing to laugh at. But it wouldn't be funny if it happened, to anybody else. But man, this guy, he called me Von Dumb. That was his nickname for me. First tour that I've met him, but since I was younger and greener than him, he acted like he was trying to help me out. No, Rob, don't buy a Coke and don't take a Coke out of your refrigerator in your hotel room. That's going to be like 500 yen there. Go across the street to the vending machines, only 320 yen there. And it's like, leave me the fuck alone, dude. But anyway, he said something on the bus, and he'd already been annoying everybody the whole time. There's only one tour that they were on, and everyone already, could not wait to get him off the bus. And then one time it's quiet on the bus, and for no reason, he thinks it'd be a good idea to start a conversation with Del Wilkes. And he goes, "Hey, Del, are the Mounties up there in North Carolina still all pricks?" And Del was like, "Actually, a lot of my friends are Mounties, so no." And that was like really awkward and stuff, and that kind of like turned things where all of a sudden, like he started being quiet and he knew that the office was mad at him. And the way shit was handled back then, Stan Hansen decided to bash both of their heads in with a chair during the match that they had. And they had these black masks that cover everything, like nylon masks or whatever. Mm-hmm. And each one of them had like a can of tomato paste broke open on their head, come out through that mask, through the black, crack, like totally 100% on purpose. And that was for the team.
Because people were just getting sick of it. Wow.
Yeah. So there's a story for you.
Wow. How about that? So David Heath, that was Gangrel then was he part of that?
David Heath wasn't Gangrel.
Okay. Because it's saying, I'm looking at the Wikipedia. It says Blackheart Apocalypse is what he was called. and they said finally Giant Baba's Japan, so I don't know if that was if it might have been a different one then.
Does it say Gangrel?
So I'm on Gangrel's Wikipedia profile.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because it's possible that I'm fucking his name up. It could be Dave Johnson, but I think it's David Heath. Really nice kid.
Yeah.
I saw him in Fort Lauderdale at Pablo's school a couple of years ago. And I was like, whoa, dude, you're still around?
Yeah. So I think that's Gangrel, yeah. Because he
not Gangrel though.
No, it's that maybe Wikipedia's got it wrong then, because it's saying like they're listing him as the guy that tagged with Nash, Tom Nash, known as the Blackhearts. So it must be somebody different then.
See, now I think Vampiro and Gangrel tagged, so I there could have been some kind of trade-off at one point or whatever, but the guy's in Japan. He had a brown hair, David. Yeah, and Tom had really blonde hair, and yeah. Hey, Von Gum.
Jeez, oh man. Yeah, that's that's like a third grade nickname.
And it's something like trying to feel superior,
Right. Yeah. That's like a sign of insecurity that he's calling you that for, that kind of thing.
Yeah. He was pretty hard to be around, and hopefully life has humbled and taught him, and hopefully he has become better in tune with calmness.
Yeah. Hopefully he can read a room a little bit better. Corey O'Donovan chimes in again for $10. Thanks again, Corey.
One more quick All Japan story that I want to tell. All right. So because I made I was trying to remember like what the two things were that were just like two tragedies, and I was like, I know what it was. Okay. I was thinking about 9/11. I was watching some YouTube video. Bruce Pritchard, they were playing the Bruce Pritchard RVD interviews. Anyway, I'm watching and they're talking about 9/11, and I'm remembering how Mike Awesome called and woke me up. And I was in San Antonio, Texas. Rob, we're under attack, bro. And I'm like, what? Turn on your TV. And I turned it on, and I saw the building's on fire, and I saw the other plane go into the building, and I couldn't fathom what was happening, and I'm like, dude, what the fuck, man? And we didn't know the world was going to stop. We actually packed up, checked out, even though we had a great hookup with the suites, buffet, everything at the Marriott there, but left and went to Houston, and then we were stuck there all week with flights grounded. We didn't realize the world had just stopped. And when I think back to it, I'm like, I didn't go back to sleep, did I? Because I can kind of picture, like what can we do about it? And I doubt that I did, but half of my brain is like, I remember feeling like a lot more relaxed about it than I should have. Like, what do you mean under attack? Who's attacking us? He's like, I don't know. And I was just like, oh, this is weird. I felt like there's probably some kind of an explanation for it. This reminds me, because it was almost the exact same thing one time in Japan. Bobby Duncombe Jr. calls my room. No, first there's an earthquake. Mm-hmm. And it felt like it woke me up. It felt like somebody shaking my bed, trying to wake me up, right? But I'm the only one in the room, and I felt that, and then it stopped, and I'm like waiting. I guess it's done, So I put my head back down, and the ring. It's Bobby. Van Dam's an earthquake. I said, yeah, I know. And he's like, we got to go down to the lobby, man. Come on, let's get in the elevator. And I'm like, wait, what? And he said, we got to go in the elevator. I said, why? He goes, because aftershocks. There's always aftershocks. I said, do you know that for a fact? And are the aftershocks worse than the original thing? And he was like, I don't know, man. We got to. Come on, man. And I was like, I think I'm good, Bobby. And I did. I hung up and I just went right back to sleep. And, in my mind, it's so similar waking up to that and waking up to Mike Awesome. But which, by the way, Bobby found out that his wife was pregnant that day. And he always said that was his daughter Cassidy coming into the world when we got hit by that earthquake.
Wow, how about that? That's crazy. That's a good story. Dang.
Yeah.
Man, I've
My
never.
story must be told.
That's it. That's it. I don't, knock on wood, I don't think I've ever experienced earthquake. I don't. Yeah, I know
So,
it happened in Jersey once over WrestleMania weekend, but I didn't feel it.
so check this out.
Mm-hmm.
During one trip to Japan, when it was a WWE trip to Japan, and we got all this news that they're having this tropical storm, and so we're flying into a tropical storm to land during that, and we did.
Mm-hmm.
Had an earthquake while we were there for a short little trip, and on the way back home, lightning hit our airplane.
What the? Seriously?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
1, 2, 3, bam.
That you braved all the elements on that one. Holy shit.
One, yeah. I'll never forget. Paul Heyman was sitting like in front of me on this airplane, and I was sleeping. And when the lightning hit, I thought that we were on the runway and that a truck just ran into us, like one of those moving trucks.
Yeah.
That's what it felt like.
So it felt like it was that impactful that you
and I was just waking up, so I didn't think, oh yeah, we're 35,000 feet in the air. I didn't think about that. I was just like, what? And then and the captain made the announcement, folks, don't panic. That was just a little bit of lightning that struck the aircraft. Sometimes that happens. And Paul turned around and he was like, oh my God. So,
That's great.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Hey, we got a super chat. Voodoo Vic, thanks for the $2, man. He says, any stories with Tajiri or super crazy?
Well, super crazy. I like him. I can't think of any stories. I worked him just 2 years ago for Noah in Japan. It's always great to see him, see that he's still going, still doing his thing. Tajiri, I have been around a bit more. I remember he came to my comic book store in the Lakewood Mall when I opened it. He was like one of our very first people. Maybe he was the first or second, and he came in and did a few autographs, whatever. And then anyway, we never gave him money, and that was way back in, what was that, 2005, something like that. It was so long ago. And but anyway, we used his money that he brought in for starting capital. And so when I was in Australia, maybe 3 years ago, maybe it was 2020, maybe last time I was in Australia, I guess we did an ECW thing. Sabu was there, myself, Tajiri, Shane Douglas, Shane's trainer. I wanted to say his name before you do. Yeah, thank you. Dominic Danucci was there. It was a really cool tour in Australia. But anyway, I pulled Tajiri aside. I said, Tajiri, son, you remember you go to my store one time, boom, boom, boom. And I said, you bring in this and, we use that. And I said, so he said, oh, yeah. I said, yeah. So I owe you. And I gave him some money like 20 years later. And he was like, oh, you're very honest, which I am. But it was also cool to be able to do that. And I remembered, what he brought in. I remembered the gate from that day anyway, and on the door. But I always liked him. I always got along with him really well. For some reason, the one time that I was in Korea, I remember eating with Tajiri in this Korean restaurant. And I have very few flashback memories of this tour. In fact, I always thought for sure I worked X-Pac, and he says no, that we didn't. He's never been to Korea, so I'm like, all right. And like I forget who I decided it must have been. Like maybe it was Scotty Too Hotty, but I don't know. It must have been 2001. WWE was still new. I'm on that grind, going everywhere, and it was the only time I'd been to Korea. And for some reason, I remember, thinking we always call the Japanese barbecues in Japan Korean barbecues. That's what we call them. And then he was telling me, no, they're Japanese barbecues. They're called yakiniku. And I'm like, well, what's the difference? And he said, Korean barbecue is more salty. And I'll always remember that. That's just something. I'll just always remember that. They told me the Korean barbecue is salty, too much salt, and that was a difference. So I don't know. Like we go to Korean barbecues around us all the time, and I really don't know. Is that Japanese barbecue but we had a place in California that was called Tameyan Japanese barbecue, so that made it easy, and it was high quality beef. They're very similar anyway, but I think the shorter better, right? Because when I started doing Tajiri saying, oh, too much salt, that reminds me when I first got to WWE and I'm in the ring, probably right around this time, but I'm having a match. I'm talking to Tajiri, and I'm bummed about trying to adapt to the live television and the short times that we're given. And I'm like, man, how am I going to be the whole effing show and make sure everyone that bought a ticket is happy when they go home tonight? How am I going to do that in 6 minutes? And Tajiri's like, oh, sota beta. And I was like, what? Tajiri, you sold out, bro. I can't believe you did that, man. Like, man, I want to show what I got. I'm here. Sota beta. I was like, man, I can't believe you. And then after like about 1 month of getting the checks and realizing if I just ran in and did a kick off the top rope in the main event in a run-in, I would get paid 3 times what I would having a 15-minute match earlier in the card. All of a sudden, I was like, shorter better.
Shorter better.
Yeah.
That might be the episode title this week. Shorter better.
That really, when I think about it, that really is like the difference is that I went through that conditioning to believe that, and like people want to see great matches, like, RVD, wrestle, you name them, right?
Yeah, super great.
But yeah, I was thinking like Will Ospreay and Kenny Omega.
Yeah, a big match like that.
I just wrestled. People wanted to see me wrestle that.
Like Daly.
Speedball, yeah. But those guys don't think shorter better. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And like, too short would be too short. Obviously, I want to give the people their money's worth. But I did go through that conditioning that the other guys didn't go through, that have built themselves up completely outside of WWE. You know what I mean? So that's something that I always knew, because they want to steal the show and go 45 minutes every single night. At least that's how it comes across, and I got to where a lot of times, like when I wrestled Bubba in a tag match in the ECW arena a couple of years ago for something, and I was like, what do you want to do? And I said, nothing. And he goes, all right, nothing's changed. And then we all kind of laughed. But that is a big difference, though. And they, had to break me down like that. But I was like, God damn it, Tajiri's right. Shorter better. And obviously it's conditional, just like anything is.
Right. Absolutely. Oh man, Tajiri.
When I wrestled AJ Styles, though, you know what I mean? Like if I hadn't gone through that conditioning of where, I wanted to do, as little as possible to get it in there, tell the story, and not worry so much about showing I can do every single high spot. If I hadn't gone through the WWF machine yet, then when I wrestled AJ Styles in TNA, then we would have had some of those fantasy kind of matches that he and everyone else used to probably think of, because I'm sure when we started working, his hopes were up a lot higher probably than mine, because I was at a different stage in my career, and I was like trying to teach everybody, like, hey, all right, you hear that? It's time to go home. We can go home now. You hear that? They're ready, and yeah.
Did you had longer matches, obviously, when the ECW days and certain things like that. But did you always kind of have that aspiration to do like you? I remember you telling the story about going Broadway with Candido, like in your guys' first match. Did you kind of have aspirations to go longer, like have really longer matches starting off earlier on?
Well, I didn't know any better when I started out. So when I started out, it was about showing everything in the book. You know, one story that pops in my mind is when Sheik and Abdullah the Butcher were wrestling each other in Vermont, and we were all supposed to do a huge pull apart. Everyone from the dressing room run out there and do this pull apart. And Sabu and I were like, "Hey, let's let everyone else, because they're gonna get gaffed. We don't want that, and let's stay away from Sheik and Abby. We'll just roll in the ring and do our own thing." And we had already wrestled and went, and done every single spot in the book, and then boom, during this big pull apart, we roll into the ring, and then we didn't know any better. I got Sabu's hand, and I'm walking on the top rope, which, by the way, it kills me how everyone just spots that person, doesn't try to pull them off. Anyway, don't get me started. Anyway, we're doing all this and backflip, boom, boom, boom. Abby was so pissed afterwards, so pissed. He wanted to kill us.
Yeah.
What the fuck are you guys out there fucking going into business for yourself? I didn't know any better. I'm like looking at Sabu, like, oh, tag, I think I was 19, like super young and didn't know any better. But anyway, no, I wouldn't say that I always wanted to go super, super long, but in ECW, it wasn't about the time. So that made it a lot easier. So I usually would go at least 20 minutes, sometimes 15, but usually at least 20 to 30, especially when I was defending the TV title. And I felt like I just felt it out there. I didn't really know that it was a 30-minute match. I was out there, having the match in the moment, feeling the crowd, enjoying it, the ups and downs of it. And I didn't know anything about even trying to put time into a match until we were live on pay-per-view. And Paul was like, "How much time do you need?" And I was like, "I don't know." Like, I hadn't even thought about, like, we'll just tell me, 20 minutes. I'm like, I'm not out there yet. How do I know how long? And there was that, so that was not part of it. And then in WWE, all of a sudden, it's all about that, like hitting your mark. It's live TV. You got 4.5 minutes. Boom, go.
Right. Jeez. And like to what you're saying too is like shorter better is like that match you had with Speedball, that was like a 10-minute match or something like that. And I felt like, and then I think the ECW arena felt like they got their money's worth too.
It was probably 15 minutes, but I don't know.
Yeah, something to that effect. It wasn't like a crazy long match, but you guys told a great story in that one.
He had 2 or 3 more matches to do that night when he was leaving there, so I was not necessarily trying to keep him there and not let him go.
Right.
Hard worker
Indeed. Rob, maybe you know what Steve means by this. Steve, you can clarify too if you want. Steve Soleil, $1.99. Thank you, sir. RVD, you think that guy from the gym looked like you? Guy from the gym. Do you know what he's talking about here?
Yeah. No, I didn't see it.
Oh, okay. What's he talking about?
He posted a picture and said, "This guy looks like RVD," and I like reposted it with a thumbs up or liked it or some shit. And then some fans were commenting back and forth, like, "No way, dude, what?" And then he said something about he looks more in person like him than in the picture. But no, I didn't see it at all.
Oh, okay. Oh, so it's just some guy.
I saw the picture, but I didn't see the resemblance.
Okay, I got
personally.
Okay. That makes more sense then. I think that was the only other super chat there for now. But I did want to mention too that somebody had some good words about you, and that was Kevin Owens. I got to find where that quote is though. It's a new quote. He was interviewed, I think, during WrestleMania weekend actually. And let's see if I can pull that up here. RBD research. Let me go there real quick. He was speaking, during WrestleMania weekend here. And he had to say, So he talked about some of the people he got to be in the ring with, like ECW wise and stuff. He said, I got to be in the ring with Steve Corino, who became my mentor. He was my absolute favorite growing up alongside Stone Cold and Shawn Michaels. And then Rhino, I got to be in the ring with him too, and I loved Rhino. I got to be in the ring with Sato Tanaka with Tommy Dreamer. It was great. But then he says, Rob Van Dam is probably the one guy from ECW that I didn't get to wrestle and that I would have loved to wrestle. But maybe it's not too late. Who knows? Kevin Owens, he obviously is having a great career so far in WWE and has wrestled Stone Cold at WrestleMania and stuff like that, so they have a lot of confidence in him. What do you think about Kevin Owens there, Rob?
Good kid. He obviously likes the extreme style, and the crowd loves him. Worked his way up on the indie scene, and then he's been doing really well inside WWE. I think he's from Montreal, some town in Canada I went to a few years ago, and everybody couldn't stop telling me, this is the town Kevin Owens is from. They were like so excited. This might have been 5 years ago. It's way before COVID. But he definitely, that's cool. And definitely it's not too late, So, yeah, he's doing some good shit.
Heck yeah. I like too, he was like, when they brought him into WWE, they didn't have a lot of those guys with that type of body type at that time, And so
True.
Him get implemented into that, it kind of hit the refresh button about like, oh, he's such a unique look in comparison to everybody else that's there today. And I thought that really added to his persona character and star power in a lot of ways.
It adds to his running bowling ball that he does in the corner too.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, no, he's always a great talent, good heel, good baby face. He's good on both ends with that. Somebody also asked, Top Notch Lawn Care, hey, nice name. Was there ever an RVD versus Hoovy or Psychosis match? Did you ever fight Hoovy or Psychosis?
Nope, neither one of them.
Oh, okay. That's definitely like a good dream bet about back in the. Yeah, I guess I forgot. I always forget that Psychosis was an ECW too.
Yeah, he was there for a minute. Yeah.
Seth, the orchestrator of the song, thanks for the remix, man. Thanks for the $20 here too. What's up, RVD?
Ooh.
Speaking of match length, what do you think of the WWE? Oh, I was going to ask you about this. What do you think of the WWE Speed concept? 3-minute matches on the X platform. Have you seen that WWE Speed thing? Do you know what that is?
What is it?
So it's just two wrestlers on WWE. They usually do them as dark matches, but they film it specifically for Twitter. And they're only 3-minute. They only have a 3-minute time limit to have the match. And so there's like the Speed champion now, who I believe is Ricochet. Ricochet won the title, but that's all they have to work with is 3 minutes. That's the time limit. I don't know what happens if the time runs out, if they lose, both get qualified, but I think the match has to happen in 3 minutes. Do you think that's a pretty cool concept, or what do you kind of think of that?
So are they like racing the clock? Is that what it is?
Yeah, so it's a race against the clock. I guess somebody's got to win the match in 3 minutes, basically. So I don't know if they ever detailed what happens if neither of them make the 3-minute time limit, though.
Probably a draw, I would imagine.
I would guess. Yeah.
Sure. Sounds cool.
Yeah. It's kind of a neat little spin on things, I think. Apparently they're doing that with the women's division too. They're going to have matches like that as well. So somebody else I wanted to ask you about. Oh, before I do that, actually, did you hear this? Mick Foley's not doing the last match again. That he ended up calling it off.
I did hear that. Yeah, I didn't know if it was true or not, but I think I heard that his condition, right? Like a doctor told him, like, no, because I don't know if they said you could be paralyzed or something bad could happen, right?
So he just turned. He was doing it because he wanted to turn 60. Well, he's turning 60, and he wanted to have a last match there to lose weight too. Was a big motivation for him.
He could break his back.
Apparently, he suffered a concussion. So he said, and then so the quote is, When? When? I'm not sure. I think when he was training or something, he must have got a concussion. So this was probably. So I had this on tap for a couple weeks. So this was a couple weeks ago when he called this off. But he said, when I resumed my work schedule, I was a little out of it. But over the next 3 days, wow, I really felt a fog lifting. It kind of was like coming to the surface after you've been swimming. I'm no longer going to be taking on the deadly duo of Father Time and Mother Nature because they commenced to kicking my butt, and it's not a rematch I'm looking to have. So he's calling off the last match, Rob, unfortunately. But good for him, though, too, kind of having that reality check of being like, oh, knowing your body and knowing, concussions are scary, as you know. It's just like, you don't want to deal with those, So
it's kind of like saying you retired and then change your mind and saying, psych, I didn't really retire like most wrestlers do.
Right.
He did it the opposite. I'm coming back, psych.
Like,
I'm gone.
I'm done.
Yeah.
That's true. Seth adds, by the way, I got a new song dropping tomorrow. It's called Smoke 'em If You Got 'em. You got to burn one it for your boy. How about that, Seth?
Nice.
Look for that. Keep our ears peeled. Definitely tag us. Tag us in the song, Seth.
Yeah, and I like the one that we played today. This version.
Yeah, it's a good remix, man.
Yeah, so, we'll see how YouTube likes it.
See how YouTube likes it too. They're the big judge of character on this one.
That's what he's doing. Same energy.
Absolutely. What else did I want? Oh yeah, somebody I wanted to get your thoughts on too. That's won a big title at WrestleMania was Damian Priest, and his look and his identity. He's with Judgment Day and all that stuff. He's such a big dude, and I know he really cut his teeth in ROH and in the Philadelphia area too. Have you had some interactions with Damian Priest or Punishment Martinez when he was, or any thoughts on him?
I have. I'm pretty sure I've had like 0 interactions.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so not too much to go by there.
Okay. Yeah, I was always curious about that because, they're kind of strapping a rocket onto him, and he cashed in the Money in the Bank thing and all that stuff at Mania. So he's getting some win behind him. So
cool. Yeah, no, I hear his name a lot, and seems like he has a good look.
Yeah. He's got a good presence about him. Here we go. Christopher Dale, thanks for the $2. Any thoughts on Hayabusa? His injury was tragic. Yeah, it was for sure. Hayabusa there, Rob. Did you have any interactions with him or thoughts on him?
Yes, I did. Yeah, so I don't know if people realize this, but the way Sabu told me, when Sabu was working for FMW, he was like top indie guy. Like when I first came to ECW, 96, 97, Sabu that's why he's going like this. He's like, I'm at the top of the list, motherfuckers. Top draw. He was wrestling for FMW, but eventually he went and he left them for New Japan because he had a really bigger, better offer. He said that leaving them with Hayabusa was like leaving like a part of him for them. And he said, that Hayabusa's character is meant to embody Sabu's image, which obviously it's Sabu's outfit with a head gimmick, right? Head wrap or whatever. Like,
yeah,
it's got Sabu pants and I noticed that a long time ago, and then he was doing like Sabu like moves. But the way he told me way back then was that he endorsed the Hayabusa gimmick, and because he was leaving FMW, he didn't want the company to be hurt. He wanted them to continue to grow. He's always really cared like that. He's always like, when he's invested, when he's got his time in it, even he's invested into it. Like even if he's doing indie shows, even when it wasn't, for the best money or whatever, sometimes he would still, like, he just loves the business, Sometimes he would be like, man, they could really do something here. They got a nice building here, and he just like cared about all that. Sometimes he would give them advice and stuff. He's always been like that. But when I think about Hayabusa, I just think it's so crazy that just like one little slip up on any given night could change your life that much forever, That's what I think of when I think of Hayabusa, and I've had some other reminders as well. But with that one, I can really relate because I'm in the ring, and and sometimes I would just think like, oh my God, what he must think of me, taking a DDT, spiking my head into the mat, you know, like, I wonder if he thinks like, you know, hey, asshole, don't do that. You can fucking walk, you know, and I wondered about that.
Yeah, man, it's definitely one of the tragic aspects of being in that kind of being in the sport, you know.
One little slip up and he's paralyzed. And how many dozens or hundreds of nasty bumps have I taken where I land on my face and my body's all scorpioned like the ridiculous logo and everything's tingling on fire? How many times have I done that? Gone for a split leg moonsault. I remember one time I had a match with Alberto Del Rio. I went out for a split leg moonsault and one foot didn't get over the rope. It kicked it and one foot did, and it spun me this weird way, and I came down just like I'm talking about, on my face, scorpion, and it gave me that, I guess we call it a stinger or burner, and you know where your head goes one way and your shoulder goes the other. It's like a football injury where
the stinger, yeah.
Yeah, and but it is like a body stinger. It was one of those times where I was like, did you just fucking paralyze yourself, you idiot? You know, like, and that's happened a few times. And I think, like, I don't know exactly what it is, you know, that makes those so much different than this guy's one time, you know, falling ugly on his head and you know, I hope that he wouldn't look at my style as risking too much, like in his face. If you know.
Yeah, I'm sure. Like I obviously can't think for him, obviously, but I'm sure like he's probably aware. Like that's the name of the sport, and that's unfortunate that shit happens. That's really unfortunate.
It is
tough. I forgot to do a super chat here by Corey. He said, not even a question, but I met Sabu last week in Massachusetts, and he talked to me for at least 30 minutes. He's a great guy, and I appreciate how extensive you both answer questions instead of just being a yes or no. That's pretty cool, yeah. Just what you were saying about Sabu, how he's really thoughtful and considerate about the business and clearly the fans, too.
Yeah, I liked it when we had him on the show, and he's talked about us doing something together, you know, but we hadn't followed up with it. But yeah, we're always really comfortable with him, and it's funny because I feel like when I'm with him and around other people, they must see like the same chemistry that they've always seen.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah. I mean, even if he is like serious or talking serious or whatever, I'm going to be joking and not as serious, you know.
Right.
Stuff, so great.
Well, even during our episode, you were like talking about like how it's because you were smoking cigarettes, and he's like, I wasn't smoking, and you guys are kind of going back and forth on that.
Yeah. Yeah. I enjoy his company.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, we'll have to get him on and stuff. I love Sabu. Let's see. Oh, here we go. What memory? Thanks, Clap Douglas. Oh, I like that name for this Canadian $7. What memories do you have from recording your voice for the ECW video games? I've always been a fan since the late '90s and consider you a legend. Do you remember doing the voiceovers for that?
Not at all.
Really?
Yeah. Not at all.
I had that game though, Hardcore Revolution. I think he's referring to, that was a fun one.
What year would that have been?
Maybe 99, maybe 2000. I'm gonna look it up now. Hardcore Revolution video game.
Tell me where the production company is at, because I'm thinking maybe it might have been at Keith Aram's awesome house in Hollywood that the studio was at. I certainly did some voiceovers there. That's where I did the video game, the one with the Saints Row or Saints.
Oh, the Saints Row, yeah. I forgot you were in that game. That's sweet.
Boondock Saints. Saints come marching in, something.
So this game came out, Rob, in 2000. And it was for the PlayStation, for N64, and for Game Boy Color, actually, too. They had it. I'm trying to see where they did the stuff at, though. I'm not on the Wikipedia. I'm not seeing where they like had the recording stuff. But by Acclaim, so they did the original WWE games too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I don't remember that. I'm sure it was my first time doing that, probably. And I've done it a lot of times since then that I can remember, and like when we do acting parts, I don't know if people realize this or not. A lot of times I can tell when I'm watching TV just because, I know it's like on the side of the camera. So it's like watching people work sometimes when they're just acting out a scene. I'm thinking about the camera angle and, stuff that a lot of people probably aren't. But a lot of times I can tell when I have to drop in, some audios to fix some stuff. And quite often that's like a whole another day. If you do I don't know, movie or a TV show or something, and it's like a couple days, they might call you back to do some ADR, which is, I don't know officially. If you look it up, it'll tell you officially, but it's like a automatic dialogue, not recapture, automatic dialogue recapture. But I think technically that's not correct, but ADR, yeah. And anyway, and it's fun because they'll show you the clip, and that's the first time you got to see anything that you did, and then and they'll tell you what they want you to do, and then you'll watch it, and there'll be like 3 beeps. And then where the 4th beep would be, that's where they want you to hit your noise. They want to time it with the TV. And a lot of times that's what they call effort noises when you do fight scenes and stuff like that. And it's grunts and groans. And so a lot of times, like I'll be watching me, like swinging with somebody and stuff. And they'll go, ready? And I'm watching it, and I'm in a little studio with a microphone and a headset on, watching the screen, going, wow, I look cool up there. It'll go beep, beep, beep. I go, oh!
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I always think how cool it would be to be a voice in like a Grand Theft Auto video game or something like that. And like, I think that would be really, really a neat kind of venture. And I'm sure easier too. Not easier, but a different kind of thing to do than just acting in front of a camera kind of.
It'd be cool to do a cartoon. I haven't done that. And really, I still sometimes wonder what happens first, the chicken or the egg, Yeah. Like, obviously, like, are they drawing to match the audio track, or are they watching the cartoon and then fitting it in with the dialogue? And, I'm, probably sounds silly for saying I don't know, but I don't fucking know.
I don't know either. I think if I had to guess, I think they would do the audio first and then do
right, because it has to sound natural and shit. You can't throw the audio out to fit something that isn't natural, right?
Because if you watch, I'm not a big watcher of anime or anything, but I know anime obviously takes place in Japan, and then they have Americans interpret it, and then they have to redo the voiceover, and then that doesn't line up. But usually, if you see like an American cartoon, those line up more, So I think it's maybe the illustration comes after the fact, but I'm not
actually now that I think about it, a few years ago I did do some dialogue for a cartoon that just hasn't been made yet, or may not be, but it was just something that someone had like a few lines for me to do. It was just a part of and they were explaining how to say it, and they were like, it's sarcastic, like The Office. Like, you watch The Office, which I remember, like, no, I didn't watch The Office. Now I see it all the time when I'm at the hotel, and it's great because they're all new, and I love that dry humor.
Oh yeah, it's great.
Yeah, I missed the whole thing, so it's all funny to me now. It's but anyway, yeah. So now that I think about it, yeah, they obviously match the drawings to the audio, and I guess maybe I've done a little bit of that, but that's cool. I don't know. I always think it's funny when someone says you should do voiceover work because, like, have you heard my voice?
No,
Like,
Rob, honestly, I was thinking in my head, I was like, you would be a good, like, voiceover actor, like for a cartoon and whatever, like a video game. I could imagine you in Grand Theft Auto easy.
someone eating gravel on the side of the road. What time is it?
Yeah, they get the young RVD voice. That's what they would get.
A Van Terminator, Scotty Anton.
One of these times we're gonna have to rank your
Whoa, you can really spit some water.
Oh my gosh, great. Here we go. Steve Soleil, thanks again for the $5. Did smoking help get through some of the bad creative WWE you had over the years? Was that version of ECW an insult to the original ECW? So 2 questions there, Rob. Did smoking help sometimes with the WWE frustrations?
Yes, but you know, in the bigger picture, that's just like saying, you know, I mean, it helps with pretty much everything. So of course, yes, you know, whatever the oppositions to your good Zen flow may be, and if that's what it was at the time, which it definitely was, then yes, also got me heat at the same time, you know, so there's also that. But definitely helped me get through some times that I might not have been able to get through or wanted to get through. When we first brought ECW back, it was cool. Like, people forget at first, you know, I had some great matches in the new ECW with the likes of Test, Bob Holly, Big Show, Sabu. People forget about some of those, like the first few months, and then yeah, they destroyed it, you know. And maybe they were always wanted to, or maybe they was split, you know. Maybe some of they wanted to do this, some of they wanted to do that, you know, and maybe some of they wanted to bring it back just to bury it. So yeah. Maybe so, yeah.
Did Paul ever express frustration how they handled the new ECW? Like,
oh, of course, yeah. But I mean, it was still like, we looked at it like it was a good thing. The fans were gonna be able to at least, you know, rekindle with that spirit, and we were gonna do our best to remain as close to the true virtue as we could. And so every week coming up to it and after we started, Paul would explain the creative meetings to me, and usually he'd give me a score. You know, usually he'd say, like, I got them. He'd say like I got 4 of their stupid ideas turned down. We have to live with 2 of them. It was usually like that, and that was the stuff with like the zombie, or I think it was going to be a Martian first because it was Sci-Fi Channel, and then and it became a zombie, and a bunch of stuff like that. You know, I guess Kelly dancing, you know, with Brooke. Loved both of them, but looking back at it, you know, like the ECW crowd in Philly, I would have ate them up. You know what I mean? Like, but anyway, yeah. So definitely, we were all frustrated. That was the battle. So it was something that I was invested in. So I enjoyed putting my energy into that, trying to make it the best I could. And then when that was taken from me, I didn't really have anything left to give.
Right. It's just a frustrating aspect, and you can only do so much because you don't have the creative control of getting the final say in certain things like that too when it comes to that.
No, when I could see that they were burying it, and I would talk to Vince, and then he would tell me, yeah, I got to do this. And then I was like, yeah, we're done then, you know, because you can't, ECW means anything goes. That's what JR's been saying every week. And then now there's one Extreme Rules match per night. You're purposely taking away what makes ECW special. You're taking the substance out of it and making it just another wrestling show now. Why would you do that? But it wasn't a successful venture.
No, unfortunately. It was a lot of fun, though. Like you said, to your point, it's first starting off, very exciting and pretty cool to kind of see you guys back, but then implementing some new talent in there, too, is neat, too.
Definitely a couple of really good pay-per-views, though, with the one-night stands.
Oh, my God.
Proud of both of those, and of course, it was because we brought ECW back that was the best foot to put forward. So I'm glad that it worked out that way. And I never regretted bringing it back. I was like, man, if I get to be myself now, but on their stage, where they trust me as if I know more about this than everyone else, about being me, finally, I could go another 10 years, man. I felt so rejuvenated, had that match with Rey Mysterio, SmackDown versus ECW. And for the first time in a long time, I felt so comfortable. I felt like, I don't know why, but all the time I just felt like somebody was in my ear, besides that time, like every other time, it just seems like everyone was always trying to change me, adapt me to be more like something they could understand.
Right. Yeah. And like you always hear some of the aspect too, where it's like Vince always wanted to have his spin on something of what it was or whatever it may be too, and like kind of do that. But like marching to the your own drum, that's what paid off. That's what ultimately paid off with it all. So, Christopher Dale, thanks again for the $5. He says, has Rob ever wrestled for any Lucha Libre promotions? What does he think of the style? I hear the rings are much harder, like the old WWF ones. Rob, do you have any experiences with the Lucha Libre?
A little bit, maybe I wrestled Dr. Wagner Jr. and Junior, right? Dr. Wagner Jr.
Yeah, Dr. Wagner, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I believe this was a co-promotion. It was down there in Mexico. I've been turning down a lot of offers to go to Mexico for more money because of the cartel crime was really bad at that time, and kidnapping people, beheading them and stuff. I was like, no, I'm good. And then TNA booked me down there, so I went down there, and the ring was bigger, and usually when it's bigger, that might make it a little harder. It's like that didn't stand out to me, but kind of just like the All Japan ring. Also, it's a little bigger, a little stiffer. The ropes aren't super tight cable because people weren't walking on them and doing flips and shit that much often. But what do I think of Lucha Libre? I think that it's fun entertainment for fans of the genre. They sure do seem to have a lot of midgets. I don't know why. Lucha Libre sure does seem to have a lot of short luchadors. And, there's a lot of it that I can't get behind. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I see its influence on some of today's product in American wrestling. And if I see a wrestler, like barely tug the person's wrist and just barely pat him on the ass, and the person takes off running, I don't need to see anymore. You know what I mean? Like that right there is going to distract me so much. And that's a big part of for some reason, that's a big part of what they do is just, it's almost like there's a button on their back and they just smack. And I'm not a fan of all that, go run the ropes and somehow you run right by me and I didn't catch you. And I don't know what the name of that is, but that's something that my generation didn't do, but it's something I think they got from Lucha and adapted. So I see a lot of wrestlers do that. It's I don't know, it's weird to me. Like, do you know what I mean? Like throw wrestling ropes and then they'll run the same direction, and the wrestler comes off the ropes. They're like, "Hey, I just passed you. Wait," and they'll turn around.
It's
"What
like they're trying to catch up with one another.
Are you hitting the ropes or mine?" And they come back and hit him with something. I don't know.
Right? Yeah, it's a little weird.
Also, and I mean, I probably won't have very many people that are going to agree with me. I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Because usually when something's really popular, there's a reason for it.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of how the business has gone to every match being a chop fest. And I think with Lucha, I think that's a big part of it too. Chop, hey, chops, straight on. And it used to be like one or two people would chop, and that was kind of like their moves. But now everybody wants to chop, and it's weird because it's almost like they take a break from competing to stop and say, "Come on, give it to me, yeah." Smack, yeah, you want one? And it's weird because it's like, weren't you guys like just having a match, and now you're now what? You guys are like a drunk college boys at a frat party, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, drinking, gulp, gulp, that's what it looks like to me. And it's like, I don't get it. It takes away from the psychology, I think, unless it's a good exchange back and forth or a build up to something, from somewhere, but it's not. It's not. It's just, hey, here's the part of the match where we're going to do 20 chops. And are they going to be better than all the other chops that I saw on the other 19 matches?
Yeah, right.
They're going to be the same chops.
Dude, Rob, that's probably my biggest pet peeve. This as the chops exchange. It happens way too often, and they'll do it. Sometimes it'll go on for like 3 minutes back and forth, and it's just like, why don't you fucking sweep the leg? Take them down.
Do you not see it coming? Do you not see it coming, or is that supposed to be a contest? Which I don't know. Sometimes I think I know, and then other times I'm not so sure. It's like if it's a tit for tat back and forth, but it's not. Sometimes they're like selling. And sometimes they're not. They're just standing there looking at them like they could be smoking a cigarette out behind the dressing room exit door anyway, just, standing there and taking it anyway. And it's like, I don't know what that means. But anyway, so Viva la Mexico.
Yeah. I do like the Lucha Libre aspect of things. There's some stuff that I'll go and watch, like some of the matches. And yeah, some of it does not make sense. And it's just like, okay, I guess like a lot of the crowds is just used to suspending their disbelief when it comes to some of that stuff. And then I don't know. Have you noticed too that some of the referees during the Lucha Libre matches, they're crooked? Like they'll do like slow counts and stuff like that. Like, why is this guy doing this? That's
the way the officials are in Mexico. So it makes more sense to them. It loses something in translation, but see, if you see the police down there standing in a roundabout, catching every car and leaning in their window and getting paid. And the only way you get out of it is if he's already got a car, you might be able to make it around in hurry. But then you would understand it more. I think it's about that. But anyway, the more I think about it, I think it's Lucha Libre that is affected the hybrid of what wrestling is now as far as the product in a lot of ways, which of course makes sense. I mean, it's not like it's just a brand new discovery, but I'm thinking about I'm comparing all the dives too. Like a lot of times it seems like with the Lucha Libre shows, it seems like there's an awful lot of dives too,
Oh yeah, 100%. No, but I think about guys like, Ray and stuff like that. And Psychosis, who we mentioned earlier, those guys like implementing that into the product back in those days was like, man, and like Ray was so unique because he made it look legitimate and he made it, he was a smaller guy, but he was like the exception to the rule of the smaller guys back then, where he was like, he was believable, and that's what was kind of neat about Ray a lot of the times.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So $5, Corey Donovan again. Thank you. He says, did you like the December to Dismember chamber match? Why was Sabu pulled? I forgot to ask him that. I think the pay-per-view got too much hate. So that was that the final ECW pay-per-view, I think, that you guys did? for WWE?
I don't know for sure. I think so though.
Mm-hmm.
I think so. I remember I had some fun in it. You know, I thought it was cool to at least make history and be the first person to do anything that I was going to do in it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like in the daytime, they had the cage. I don't know if they I think they lowered it. It had on the ceiling. I think they lowered it over the ring for us. Yeah, they did. So that we could see what it was going to be like, and asked us, you know, to just kind of like, you know, kick it around in our head and think of, you know, some imagine being in there. Let's say, you know. So that's when I'm like, sweet. I want to do a rolling thunder over the rope to that fucking steel railing, whatever you call it, the steel railing floor.
Yeah.
And boom, when I was thinking about this stuff, cool, man. I'm gonna catch on the fence and boom, go back and yeah. So I did enjoy that part of it. You know, I always like thinking out of the box, being extreme, and so that was really cool. But the actual match, was I in two though? Yeah, no, I don't know.
You were in what? When did you enter? When did you
If
enter?
it was ECW's last one, then no, I wasn't in two, right? So, and, I just remember like, man, was Kane and Shawn Michaels and CM Punk? Was it New Breed in there or
No. Okay, so here's who was in the match. Bobby Lashley won the match, and he defeated Big Show. He defeated Test, you, Hardcore Holly, and CM Punk.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
okay.
So, and you eliminated CM Punk at 12 minutes and 35 seconds. He was the first elimination, and then yeah.
Um, yeah, I just remember that I was really unhappy with what they were doing with ECW at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And then when they beat me and I was walking away and Bobby was still in the ring, I felt like that was them putting a punctuation on it saying out with the old originals, you know, and in with the new breed. We're going in a new direction. We're going to take it, fuck it up. and I remember feeling like that. Like I was really hurt by that they were going in a different direction than I wish they would have. And a lot of fans felt that way too, and turned their backs to the cage and flipped it off and stuff. Like after I got beat, because they knew that's what was happening too.
Yeah, I
Because all
believe.
the ECW fans were always complaining, you know, about the differences between the product and the old.
Right. Yeah, I'm looking. The final three guys in the match was Test, Big Show with Bobby Lashley. No ECW original guys at all. And you were the only original ECW guy in the fucking match.
I can't remember why Sabu got canceled though. That's a great question, and we'll have to ask him. I don't remember.
Yeah, we'll have to follow up on that for sure. Jeez. Okay, well, another question.
Although it is possible that he was never booked in it.
That might be it.
I'm not sure though.
Yeah, that's interesting. Kenny Powers, hey, the Kenny Powers. Thanks for the $5. I'm showing some love to one of the best to do it and one of my favorite wrestlers of all time, the whole effing show, Mr. Monday Night, Rob Van Dam. Thanks, Kenny Powers.
Awesome, man. Appreciate you, Kenny.
Heck yeah, brother. You're fucking out. That's what Kenny Powers says. Let's see. There was another one. There was another good one I was going to ask. Oh yeah, here it is, right here. Zachary Nathanson. RVD, looking back now, what has been the most satisfying thing about the original ECW to you? The most satisfying thing about the original ECW, Rob?
But wait, what was the word after ECW?
What was
Oh,
the most satisfying thing about the original ECW to you? Yeah. Let's see. What's the right way to
Whoa! Why am I up there?
I don't know. Are you hearing me on my end? Maybe. Are you still echoing?
Yep.
Okay, 1 second. Hold on.
The fuck?
Let's see. Should have some headphones here.
Anyway, the showcasing. Oh, I'm not echoing now.
Oh, you're good now?
Just stopped. Yeah.
Okay, I'll plug these in just to be safe.
Okay. Man, it was fun. It was a great place for me to learn how to put everything together and keep what I was going to keep and get rid of what I would get rid of. And I guess to put it into words, the part that was the best was that so many other people agreed that what we were doing was so fucking cool. You know, we thought the show was so cool. The fans thought it was so cool. They still do. And so they'll always remember it. And it'll be so hard to be that fucking cool again.
Yeah. I think that's a great point, too, because, like, WWE was obviously the big kahuna there, but you guys were the cutting edge of everything, where it was just like, you guys were on the precipice of it all. Like, anything that was fresh and unexpected, you guys were at the forefront of it. So I think that was a really neat aspect as a fan, too, going into it. Good stuff. Good question. Cool. Guys, if you want to get some last-minute questions on here, feel free to use the super chat. We got over 1,600 people watching through Twitter, through YouTube, and through both YouTube channels. So, guys,
hey, next week,
mm-hmm.
We're gonna have Joe Holland on.
All right, sweet. Okay, yeah. Did you want to tell about the Singlet thing, or will I give the details about what's going on there?
Yeah, well, we're gonna go through and narrow it down. We're still narrowing it down right now, but by next week, we'll have Joe on, and we will pick the winner, and we'll do it on the air. So Joe's gonna help us, or it's possible he may just help us with a stage, narrowing it down to the final couple, or the final even. I don't know, 5 or something, but there was a lot of them were sent in. Don't know how many yet, but I'm going to have all that information by next week. And then either he's going to announce the winner, or he's going to help us narrow it down, and then we will be announcing how we're going to be deciding the winner from there. Either way, we got the legendary Joe Holland to help us out with the coloring contest. There's so many entries, and all of them look cool. And I'm excited, looking forward to wearing the chosen winner.
Damn, yeah, that's gonna be sweet. I'm excited for that. And yeah, it's cool. And you said there's a lot of entries too, and everything like that, huh?
Yeah, my webmaster's been sending me like pages of them, and I didn't get a chance to look at some of the ones that he sent, and then or forward them to Joe. But we're all like trying to keep that going and moving right now. And then, I'll try to come get a number so that we can see how many people were in it. But a lot of people were just like, "Fuck yeah, why not? This is fun."
Yeah, why the heck not? It's what a neat idea too. It's such a neat idea. Cool. Well, Rob, you got a RVDology this week? We have a super chat. I'm going to wait on the super chat for somebody. They said they posted one, and I can't find it on here, so I told them to repost it. But if you want to do your RVDology first, if you have one, we can do that. Or
you don't have to talk about any sponsors or anything?
Oh shit! Yes, call. Thanks, Rob. Hold on a second. Let me pull. That's a good idea there. I'll do that right now. Yeah, guys. Just to let you know, this RVD, One of a Kind with RVD, is always sponsored by Get Blitzed. Get Blitzed Lit 8 Nano Infused THC syrup is a premium cannabis infused syrup Formulated with nanotechnology for fast-acting effects. Guys, you can use promo code RVD and get 15% off. Now, this is Delta 9, and it is legal in all 50 states, so you guys don't got to be worried about, running into any complications when it comes to anything like that. But get Blitz Lit Nano 8 infused THC syrup stands out with its advanced nanotechnology formulation, which allows for quicker onset and enhanced potency compared to regular THC syrup. This is Mickey Ray Sinatra and Courtney's product. They're right out of Maryland, and have several different flavors you can do, from pina colada to key lime pie. That's Kevin Nash's favorite. I have in my cabinet right now blue raspberry, but I'm waiting for the appropriate time to do it. There's also black cherry and tiger's blood too. So go to get-blitz.com and use promo code RVD for 15% off. This was a big hit at WrestleCon with a lot of the wrestlers and stuff like that. The Godfather liked it. I know I gave my bottle to Fonzie. There lots of getting some good buzz around there. Pun not intended. But go to get-blitz.com, use promo code RVD, get 15% off. Try it out and tell them RVD sent you. All right. Thanks for the reminder there, Rob. Good call.
Dude.
Yeah.
I got a small. I got a quick little promotion going with a kratom company that they just it's only like for Instagram, but if you go to Viva Zen and put in RVD20, then they'll hook you up and give you a discount and keep track of who's taking my advice. But I'm always pushing kratom when people want to know, like, what do I recommend for pain. And man, the one thing that makes it hard to choose that over prescription pills is that the powder tastes so bad. It's not a pleasant experience normally. And with Viva Zen, they got the little bottles that are like 5-hour energy shots. Mm-hmm. So, you just you shoot it down, and I'm not sure what it has as far as liquid in it with the Mitrogenia, which is the kratom. And anyway, I'm a fan. Katie loves them, so we actually reached out to them and said, hey, what's up? Send us some product, and they did. And so I don't know if we'll do something longer term and maybe some with the show or whatever. I got somebody else also that I'm talking to, but I'm a big fan of kratom because I use kratom and I know that it can help so many people.
So they go, okay, Viva Zen. Go to vivazen.com. What's the promo code they use again, Rob?
RVD20, not 420, RVD20.
RVD20. So go to vivazen.com. And then, promo code RVD20. So cool. All right. Show Ryu King happened to chime in with his super chat. He said, did Sandman ever replace your shrooms he ate?
No.
No, he didn't.
I don't think so. He might have, but I don't think so.
Okay.
Those shrooms came from St. Louis, from Big Ben. R.I.P. Big Ben, good guy. He ran Gateway Championship Wrestling in St. Louis, and I used to like hanging out with him. And one time he gave me these mushrooms, and I had him sitting in my bag. Maybe my bag was open, I guess, or something in the dressing room. Mm-hmm. And I came back later and they were just like all gone. There was like none of them. I'm like, dude, what the fuck? And said, what happened? He's like, oh, did I eat them all? And I'm like, what? And there was a lot there. Like, I can't remember like how he reacted to it afterwards, though. Maybe this person that's asking knows, like, if Sandman was tripping, or I don't know if that story came from me or him, but Big Ben won't be telling it anymore. He's among the past on now.
Jeez. It's funny. I met Sandman for the first time at WrestleCon. I saw him and I was like, hey, I do RVD's podcast, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, hey, you worked in Pittsburgh, I saw. He's like, oh, yeah, I was on a roof doing some stuff across the bridge. And then it was just funny, like, how he ended the conversation. It was almost like like just taps me on the shoulder and then walks away. It's almost like good talk, and then just walks away.
Yeah. Yeah.
Pretty funny shit.
I saw him at that wrestling universe in Queens.
Oh yeah,
CW day. Everybody was there, and some police came in uniforms. And I don't know if it was because it was a cop or if that had nothing to do with it. I don't know either way. But, when they come in and see me, like, hey, boom, boom, RV, we get the picture. Yeah, good to meet you. Yeah, boom, boom, boom. Hey, here's a sticker, subscribe to my YouTube. Anyway, I saw Sandman, and he just like, he was writing an autograph to the guy who went over there next, and I just saw him go. As soon as he was done with it, he just laid the pen down, got up, and turned and just walked away. Yeah, and I don't know if it was like it could have been because he was a cop. It could have just been because people like in Philadelphia are like that to each other. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like the cop might not have thought it was special at all, but we were in New York, not Philly. But Sandman lives in Philly though, and they are like that. Like the waitresses will come by, and they just set your food down sometimes, and they'll just like walk away. Yeah, I remember my evil ex, first time she came to Philly, and we were at that Oregon diner. So, is it just me, or does she have an attitude? And I was like, no, it's just you. Like they're all like this. They're rude. They're not polite to each other. Because they go, she can buy, you want ketchup?
Just walk away. That's it.
That's what they do. So I'm going to give Sandman the benefit of the doubt and think that maybe he was just doing that. I like to feel like, I don't know. I'm at work when I'm doing those things. You know what I mean? Like,
right. Yeah. Uh-huh.
I'm up, usually on my feet, then back to sign, then on my feet, then back to sign, up. But I love it. I'm good at it, and some people aren't.
Right. But to your point, yeah, Philly's like that demeanor. It's like, okay, yeah, there's not a lot of bells and whistles when it comes to that stuff.
Yeah.
We just had this question there, World Superior 200. Thanks for the $5. What was the process of recording lines for the ECW game? Pick a hand should be your move set. How many wrestlers would you pick a hand with during WWF WCW? How many wrestlers would pick a hand? I'm not sure what you mean by that there, Wonder Superior. How many wrestlers would pick a hand during WWF WCW? During the invasion? Is that what you might mean?
I'm not sure, but I think I can answer that. First off, like I said, I don't remember recording the lines for the ECW video game. Like, I cannot recall when we did that, like I'm thinking like there's this guy I became friends with, Keith Aram. We did the Saints Row. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, Saints Row. Yep.
We did those at his studios, but that's the first place I can remember doing it. I don't remember before that, so I don't really know. But anyway, here's the thing though. Nobody picked a hand, and nobody would. And that's the thing that everybody gets wrong about that all the time when they tell the story. You don't pick a hand. There's no time. You're still trying to figure out like what's this guy talking about, and that is the purpose of it. I guess is I mean it's kind of a distraction, but at the same time, it's also literally quite forward and in your face. So it's like, hey, pick a hand. What? Smack. You don't sit there and have a debate with them about which hand's going to be better.
Right.
Never.
Although, if they did pick a hand, you probably hit them with that hand, right? It's like they pick one, but they don't have time. That's the point of it, though, right? I
don't know, but it doesn't come out of a mood where it's not going to be. It's not going to be like the mobsters that get their best friends to trust them and hang out all night before they get behind them in the car and shoot them in the back of the head. It's not. It ain't like that. It's like I be coming up to you aggressively. You hadn't seen me all day. You can tell that I'm really serious. I'm like, hey, pick a hand. You're not gonna go, oh, okay. Let's see. I choose that one. It's not like that. It's not like we're just playing a game. Hey, I got something for you, Dom. Hey, check this out, man. Hey, go ahead, pick a head.
Okay.
Smack! You know what that's for? No, I mean that. It's not like that. Obviously, that don't work.
No, Mr. Monday Night. Hey, before we forget to go to rvd420.com. You got some glass happening there. Greek glass. Yes, check them out, guys. There's some cool ones there. We got the WCW Invasion one there. Van Terminator, that's a good one. And then we have the electric one, the neon one, which is really cool looking too. So
badass.
Very cool. Mm-hmm. Check them out. RVD420.com.
If you're into wax, just slide the bowl out and slide a nail in. What do you got? Boom.
How about that?
A dabber. You don't have to answer that. I know you don't.
I didn't know. I didn't even know what you're saying about wax or anything like that. So, hey guys, we have another announcement too. Next week, gonna be the first episode of Right Down the Middle with Bill Alfonso. Fonzie, we're doing a new show on here on RVD TV coming up, and it'll be a bi-weekly show. First episode is going to be me, Fonzie. We're going to be talking about the origins of ECW, him getting into all that stuff, and just his general wrestling career and everything like that. But we're going to dive into all these other elements throughout the course of things, from ECW days to his days in Florida Championship Wrestling and different things like that as well. So be sure to be on the lookout for that. It's going to be a lot of fun. Fonzie's been excited about it. I'm excited about it. It'll be on rvdtv.com, guys. So take a look at that.
Awesome.
Yeah, awesome stuff. Rob, did you have an RVDology or?
No, let's go ahead and slide into next week with that.
Slide it into next week. Joe Hall will have a good episode there. I'm excited to meet and speak with him, the master behind the singlets. Should be good stuff. Rob, you don't have an appearance for a while, right? Till July, is that correct?
June, but June. Yeah. So I got a few weeks to get stuff done and relax, and so yeah, I'm not gonna be plugging any appearances. I'll be right here every single week. And man, what was it that you just said that you triggered something in my head? No, but after that, but before
Joe Holland.
Before you asked about appearances.
The master behind the singlet, Joe Holland.
Oh no! You know what? I forgot you were asking about RVDology, and I was just gonna say, I think it's worth repeating what I said last week. I don't know if everyone got it or not. But simple formula, you can use it everywhere in life. Is there a reason, or not? And if there's no reason, it's not going to get done. If it gets done, then there is a reason. If something happens, there's a reason. If there's a reason, then something happens. If there's not a reason, it doesn't get done. And so that's a solid foundation of the simplest formula. Is there a reason or not? And then, of course, is it worth it or not? So decide everything like that. You know what I mean? Like, man, I would love to have my yard cleaned and shit, is it worth should I get out there and do it in the lawnmower? Is it worth it? Would it make me that happy? Is it worth the sweating or the cutting up of my ankles or whatever? You weigh it all out, and no one else can tell you about something being worth more or less to you because they're not you. So anyway, I would just like to repeat that. And is there a reason or not? Just keep that, and tell me if that don't simplify your life.
Yeah. Break it down to the basics right there. I like it, Rob. Cool. Well, guys, if you like what you're seeing, you can go to Rob Van Dam's YouTube if you're not already on there, or The Real RVD. You can go to rvdtv.com for new episodes and clips and stuff like that. Follow Rob at The Real RVD wherever your social media is. follow me on X at Dominic D'Angelo. And fun episode in the books, Rob. We covered a lot of good ground on this week, and it's been good stuff. So thanks, everybody, for tuning in, too, this week as well. So, all right.
Sounds good. Are we gonna keep talking? Are we gonna keep talking all night? No. You know why? There's no reason to.
There's no reason. What's the reason?
Boom.
Boom. Oh no, we lost him. Guys, we'll see you next week. Rob, you there?
I came back.
You came back. Just your face in there. That's it. We'll